U.S. Department of Justice has just come to a major settlement with Cleveland Police Department in Ohio. A 110-page report that the DOJ laid out what Time magazine called, quote, one of the most extensive sets of restrictions ever placed upon a law enforcement agency. The news outlet explained that, quote, the agreement requires Cleveland's police to adopt hundreds of new policies and procedures to fix what the federal government has called a pattern of systemic abuses and unconstitutional practices. It includes mandates to adopt community policing strategies, prohibitions on use of force for people who are handcuffed or restrained, and restrictions on firing from and at moving vehicles, as well as extensive mandates on logging use of force incidents, including each time officers unholster their weapons. Cleveland now joins cities like New Orleans, Ferguson, Missouri, Newark, New Jersey, and Albuquerque, New Mexico in facing some federal restrictions. The tragic case of the fatal police shooting of 12-year-old Tamir Rice was among the triggers for Cleveland's DOJ agreement. But police brutality is not the result of a few bad apples. The documentation of police abuse, along with public outrage over the past year, has revealed a widespread national scourge. And today, we'll examine how police abuse has impacted one family. My guest is Khafre King. He is a Los Angeles-based actor and singer whose brother, Jasun, and sister Ahjah were both killed under suspicious circumstances in relation to the police. Welcome to Uprising, Khafre.
Hi, how's it going?
Doing very well. Thanks so much for joining us. So you lost a brother and a sister.
Yes.
That's it's hard to imagine what a family goes through with that level of loss. You lost both of them within a year, both in circumstances related to the police,
Yes.
which is, I think, just a horrific microcosm of what so many families, particularly black families, face around the U.S. So let's start with your brother, Jasun, who was killed in 2009 in New York. Tell us a little bit about what happened to him.
Well, my brother had a run-in with the police, and basically what happened was, we don't know. We weren't there for the actual run-in, but we do know that he had run-ins with the police quite often. Just being a black male within New York, there's a lot of racial profiling that goes on. And in this particular incident, he wound up losing his life. And we know that there was we equate a suspicion around because of the fact that they gave us a false autopsy. And that's the main key point that really just triggered what really happened.
So specifically, he was, what happened in the encounter? He was being arrested for something?
He was being arrested for something. And they claimed that maybe it was like a misdemeanor stealing of something, or like, I don't know, it could have been anywhere to like a bottle of juice or something like that, or anything. But it was very misdemeanor. And it was something that wound up ending his life, and that's the.
Was he shot? Was he?
He was beaten, and there were bruises on his body. There were like actual bruises all over his corpse, and they initially said, and it was crazy. They came up with this horrendous story that he committed suicide, and he just jumped from like some type of roof or something like that, and it was somebody else's autopsy, like an actual other name on it. And my mother said that does not sound like my son. It just doesn't sound like my son. So we investigated further, and we found out that that was not the right autopsy. It was someone else's name on it. Then they finally gave us the correct autopsy. She went and she did the whole process, and she just relayed all this information to me. I wasn't there for this process. I was in school, and I didn't even know anything happened until later.